Yeah.
My name is Ethan Moore. That's Pastor Dwayne Black.
Yep. Right here.
My short intro, which we're going to start doing now, right? Is let's see. I was a former professor of religion and philosophy. Well, I was an adjunct professor. No, I was an academic dean. I don't know. Does that outranks a professor? I think. Pastor. Do you have a parishioner calling you?
Made a mistake.
That is a no. The doors of the church are closed for now while we record this podcast. The only time they're ever closed. I was philosophy. I did philosophy, religion, and also I was a drug addict.
Okay.
And currently I'm a stand-up comic.
Right.
And podcaster. What about you, Pastor? How should people know you?
I am the pastor at the Sanctuary Church here in Fort Lauderdale.
Available at really any time, even during podcasts.
Right, during podcasts at all. Not a problem.
Are you going to turn that off?
I did. Somehow it's ringing through my iPad, so.
They've got you on like multiple devices.
They're just going to keep ringing.
Okay, you're the pastor here.
So yes, I'm the pastor of the Sanctuary Church here in Fort Lauderdale.
You used to be a rock musician, didn't you?
I did play. We played, actually, our biggest hit was...
The harp?
I was a singer. No, I was a singer. And we played first band on for Springsteen, his first run down here.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was.
The E Street Band.
The E Street Band, yeah. I was the one who was going, the guy's got to change his name. Never make it that way.
Right. Yeah, something shorter and punchier.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen? Come on.
Nobody's
Doesn't
there.
sound like a rocker. It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
It was, during a time when you had David Bowie and Alice Cooper and all that. And here comes this guy. Springsteen.
I mean, Bruce also is just not doesn't sound like one of those names, where you're like, oh, this guy's going to be, tough rocker. It's like, nah. Seems like an interior decorator name or something, Well, let's see. The last episode, we talked a lot about politics, which I kind of try to avoid.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But we couldn't help it,
I guess we were both a little pent up, and like I said, I'm still addicted. I don't want to talk about this much, but it's just so funny watching this presidential campaign here in the United States. It's like every week, every day, there's just something new and crazy.
It just gets crazier and crazier. I get up every morning. I just can't wait to hear what was said.
Oh yeah. I know, right? I'm racing to the computer to check. Yeah, no, me too. It's like the thing this week that happened, which usually we could spend 2 minutes on, I guess, is it was funny. Was I guess Donald Trump sort of like wink, wink said, "Hey, if you're a Second Amendment reporter, maybe you could take out Hillary Clinton."
That's really.
Which I'm like, whoa, I didn't think you could say that.
I was actually watching that, and I sat there and went, I can't believe he just said that.
Yeah, it's wild.
That
right?
is just too crazy. I mean,
But okay, just to go on the other side of it, I'm actually trying to work on a joke about this. I never do political stuff, but this is one that
How could you not now?
I know. Well, the thing about Trump and even just this whole thing, this whole campaign is like, I almost don't want to do jokes about it. Not only because I think politics is too divisive to be funny most of the time, but also because it's like, how do you even make fun of Trump? You know what I mean? It's like he already is like kind of a joke.
Yeah. Well.
So it's like, it's too easy. I don't want to do it. I want to do something harder. But I will say this. Like one thing that I didn't get about this was so it's like people are upset about this. How he said like the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Second Amendment remedies. I think is what they said when that other politician Gabby Giffords got shot. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, okay, it's true. It's not nice to shoot people, but isn't that like kind of what the Second Amendment was for? Was to take out politicians? I mean, and if you don't believe that, then just look at how the country was founded. Basically, it was a bunch of locals here in America taking out the British politicians with force.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, it kind of has a long history of I mean, it seems like the most.
I have never put it together like that. That's amazing.
It's the most valid possible interpretation of the Second Amendment. Why else would they mention that?
How your mind works is amazing.
I mean, I'm a pacifist. I want to point that out. I'm not endorsing political violence at all. I think it's immoral and wrong. But I mean, it is kind of how the country was founded. In fact, isn't it how every country was founded?
A bit.
Right? Isn't that what what's that? It's not the rapture, is it, Pastor?
I hope not.
It's the rapture of the church.
I'm not prepared.
You're still here. We're both still here. Uh-oh. We've been left behind. Wow. I don't know, man. The whole thing is just crazy. I do think that if you look at like the nation state, I mean, that is how nation states get founded. Is on violence.
It really is. I guess yeah.
You know, what's that thing they used to say? Like the communists, they'd say like property is theft, right? And a nation state is almost violence inherently. It's kind of like what it is. It's like saying this is us, and other people are not us, and we will fight for that ideal, and we'll kill people for it.
Man, I'm amazed how your mind works.
So what I'm saying is Donald Trump's right on the money on this
That's
one.
right. I know.
Donald Trump and Thomas Jefferson on the same side of the issue.
You know, I'm online right now, and I just had you join the Donald Trump movement.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So,
I got me on the Trump
train. You'll be getting emails, yeah.
I wanted to join the Trump train, but I was worried because I heard actually that there were no brakes on the that train. It does not stop for anything. No, I don't know, man. It seems like it's weird because it's like we all sort of take the nation state as a fact of life, and I guess there's a lot of good things that come out of it, but in theory, but ultimately it's not a very, what would it? I mean, you can go back to Jesus and stuff, right? I mean, he's kind of like Rome was a nation state, right?
It was, yes,
and,
empire.
I mean, it was sort of started out, I guess, as a nation state. It became a global empire, but I think it was sort of similar in terms of the way it was constituted, right? You have a group of people, the Romans, the nation, and then they're embodied by the state, and to fight against the state is treasonous and illegal and wrong, considered immoral.
And there was an understanding that Caesar was bringing peace, just a different kind of peace.
Yeah, the Pax Romana, they called it, right? Yeah. And then you've got JC, you know, from Nazareth there stepping out, and he's saying, oh, no, it's the kingdom of heaven.
It's a different kingdom. What kind of kingdom? Whose kingdom is it? Who's in charge?
Yeah. What was it? I think John Dominic Crossan called it a kingdom of nothings and nobodies or something like that.
It was.
Yeah. It's a kingdom that's ruled not by violence and the sword, but ruled by the meek.
Compassion and the idea of a society lifting up the meek. That's pretty wild.
It is in this election. Yeah.
So you did a podcast. You did stand-up this week.
Oh, you want to talk about this?
Yeah,
I did stand up this week.
How was it?
It was, well, how would you know? You have to ask me because you weren't there. On the last edition of Jesus Christ, That's Funny, I think you promised to attend.
I did. You know, and I'm telling you right now, the guilt is just dripping off me right now. I feel guilty. I wasn't there. And then when I texted you and said, okay, I've got somebody in the hospital, and you said, oh, you've got front row seats, and I've reserved everything for you.
Is your thing still going off during your apology here?
It actually said, don't forget to do the podcast.
Oh, my God. Can you turn that thing off? Wow. So unprofessional, Pastor.
So I felt really bad about it because you know, and then you tell me you did really well, and that was even sad.
Yeah, it was actually a good show. We did it over there at the 33rd Street Wine Bar, and it was standing room only. So it was just totally packed. There wasn't even room for you and Cindy, your wife. How about that?
And Cindy,
we were glad you didn't come.
She was so mad at me.
I bet she was.
It wasn't even pretty. It wasn't even that she was like mad, like you get mad at a person. It was just, it was like disgust, like you have just let me down.
She's like, how dare you go to the hospital and minister to one of the flock.
That was it.
You're supposed to be taking me out to the wine bar to get drunk and listen to jokes about Ethan's genitalia.
She's going to love this one. You know that? And she's going to like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Hi, Cindy. We will be doing another one. That show was really good. We had John Gregory as our headliner.
Who's going to headline this time?
He's really funny. He's from Miami. I don't know who's going to headline the next one. We'll do the next one in September. We also had Lisa Correo drop in, which was really cool. She's been on like Nickelodeon and stuff. She's in New York now, and she's a Florida comic who's started to get some traction.
Oh, cool!
Up
Very
in
nice.
New York now. So
did she do a set or?
Yeah, she texted me the morning of the show and said, "Hey, I'm in town. Can I come and get 5 minutes?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." I'd book her to headline. If she's in town next time, maybe we'll get her to do it. Who knows?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That'd be good. She's really funny.
So it'll be again next. What is it? Next Friday.
No,
up,
we're
or is
doing it on Tuesdays. These are
Tuesdays?
Tuesday
Okay.
shows. So, yeah, stay tuned. You can follow my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, at Ethan is not funny. And I'll let you know when the show's going to be.
And I can't wait to be there because I'm going to be there Snapchatting away.
You know, you've promised to be at so many of my shows by this point that I kind of am just like,
You don't really expect it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and see, that's the
like
way I planned it. That's the way I'm trying to move it that way.
so that your
So
word
it's
is
a big surprise, so that when I get there, you're like, I can't believe you're here.
your word is so much not your bond.
And no, it
that
is my
it's just-
bond. That's why I feel so guilty about it.
You really, it's probably the fourth or fifth time this has happened.
Well, this one was like I had really had planned, and I was like on the thing. I was like, I can do this. I can make this one. And it was like,
And then another time you came up to one when we weren't even having it.
well, that's because you told me you were having it.
I
there.
didn't tell you
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, you did.
I told you that we have it every
Right,
every
but you
that
canceled
day.
one.
We ended up canceling one, but you didn't communicate with me.
They had tacos, and yeah, they had fish tacos there. That was good.
Yeah, I will not forgive
Okay.
you.
Okay.
I will not. No, we will. Of course, I'll forgive you, and we will do it again. So we want you at the next one because we want the next one to be standing room only again. You know, that's key.
Can I sit in the front and like really, I'll tell everybody I know this joke. It's coming up. Oh, this is really good. You got to listen. Don't.
If you
don't- yeah.
this time to get a front row seat, you're gonna have to wash my feet,
Is that
anoint them with frankincense, and
if I washed your feet, you would just fall over.
yeah,
Right in the middle of your show.
wow,
You know,
that'd be
Who's
an
this
interesting.
guy with a towel wrapped around his
It's like,
waist.
what is this, prop comedy?
Yeah,
What's
this-
going on? It's the myrrh. Oh man. Well, let's see. I wanted to. I had something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, what was it?
I've got, as always, I've got like problems in my own like spiritual life, personal life, stuff like that.
Well, did you ever apologize to that girl?
May May?
Yeah, yeah.
It's on my calendar of things to do. No, I've been thinking about it a lot this week, and
man.
by the time this airs, hopefully I will have, and then maybe I can give you an update. But no,
Well, I think actually you promised me to give me an update this time that you would have.
I should have. It's so hard to. I'm actually like afraid to contact her. Really, I am.
I still think you
have
should
a
do
fear
it
of
right on the air like this. Just call
Well, that's
her
what
up.
the issue was last time. Was that if you go back and listen to it would be episode 29 of Jesus Christ That's Funny, where we talk about the incident with May May.
Yeah.
On Sex on Kava, my other podcast. You can sort of get the background here, but basically, this is May May has left the show Sex on Kava. And, as a producer of that show, I feel in some way responsible. And I think maybe the transition had to happen, but I think probably what I owe the apology for was just kind of how it happened. So I need to go back and talk to her. But man, I'm afraid. And actually that's, and I'm lazy. That's the thing. I think that's part of it too. This is the issue I wanted to talk about today, which is just kind of, I don't know what I'm gonna call it, like almost like spiritual grit.
Right? Yeah.
Is that a term we can invent
Sure.
right now?
Yeah. Spiritual grit.
And I'll explain what it means.
I have no idea.
Okay, so I feel like the interesting thing about, we talk about how to become a better person a lot on this podcast. And the interesting thing about kind of, I think the way people think about spirituality, especially kind of like sort of the more Jesus-oriented spirituality, is it's a lot of like, just turn the other cheek and kind of let people, do their thing. Don't force your will on them. Things like that,
Yeah.
And maybe some of that, maybe those are good things to practice. But I think it's, to me, like something that I struggle with a lot in my spiritual life is just kind of the tough parts, like the actually getting kind of like depressed and lazy and just kind of like not focusing on things. So for example, like for me, that would be like, okay, I need to get up and go to like an AA meeting.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Or, I need to like pick up the phone here and call May May, even though I'm a little bit scared to do it. Or I need to do yoga because that's an important part of my spiritual practice.
Right.
Because it's really easy for me to just say, oh, okay, well, I need to do this comedy show and get paid, so I'll do that.
Right.
Or I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, well, I have like a few hours now. I could practice, I could work on, the things I need to work on. I could try to reach out to someone and help them. Or, what harm is it if I just sit here and, let's face it, masturbate, or... By the way, is that a sin? I don't know.
If it is, there's a lot of sinners out there.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'll tell you a quick story about onanism, which is what some people call it, but I think that's a misnomer because Onan didn't get in trouble for masturbating. He got in trouble for refusing to impregnate someone, I think.
Right.
When you're supposed to be
Spilled
fruitful.
his seed.
Yeah, you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. But no, I remember when I was little, like when my parents, they never exactly gave me the talk, but we were hardcore Baptist fundamentalists and very, very, very right wing. And
But your mother's not that way anymore.
she's not anymore, and neither is my dad. But we were, and my mom's dad, as a Southern Baptist preacher, definitely was.
That's scary.
And that was the milieu in which I grew up. And I remember, they, instead of sort of sitting down and giving me the talk, they gave me these like Christian books which talked about sex. And it was like a quartet because it was
My
like
dad did that too.
Right?
Yeah, I'm serious. My dad gave me the same thing. I'm going like, I can't eat. Are there pictures?
There, right. And it explains what sex, and it kind of leads up and it talks about like relationships and different things and spiritual health, and then in like the fourth book is where they get to the good stuff. And I remember there was one section on they tell you what sex is and all that stuff. We won't go into it here, but you can ask your parents' kids.
That's right.
But I remember there was one section on masturbation, and it said that, and ultimately, like, it kind of went back and forth with it and said, like, there wasn't any clear biblical guidance, but it said, ultimately, this is, like, up to you and your own relationship with Jesus Christ. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad they said that. I actually will probably stick with this religion a little longer.
A little longer.
Yeah, I think that kept me in the fold for a few more years because I was like, oh, okay.
It's kind of
so
okay.
if I think Jesus thinks this is okay, this is okay? All right. Because it's hard to slow a teenage boy down,
So your dad was a minister.
No, my dad was a deacon in the church, but
okay.
he was never a minister.
Okay. And so who was the minister in the Baptist church?
My grandfather, my mom's father.
Your grandfather. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because my dad was a minister too when I was growing up, and it was strange. That was really strange.
I bet.
Yeah. But it was very strange when he gave me the book.
Oh, when he gave you the book.
It was very clear, he said, well,
I thought you just meant in general, your childhood.
Yeah. I think you should read this. And it was like, well, there's just way too many words. And there should be more pictures
some sort of video?
drawings
Can you
or
show
something
me a film
going.
strip?
Yeah, that's. And then I ended up going to my mom and saying, I just want to understand a little bit more about what all this is about.
Right.
And she was just like dead on, Claire, just absolutely, what do you want to know?
Right.
I'll tell you about it.
Wow.
And and there was a point where it's like, that's enough. I don't want to know anymore.
I always felt I think that's a healthy approach for parents. I always felt a little bit like it was a little kind of taboo. Like they actually didn't want to talk about it, and it was considered a little bit dirty. In the repressive kind of Christianity that I grew up in. So they were like, yeah, we'll outsource it to this Christian author. He'll tell him. And then
because we never had sex,
right?
That was it.
And I think within a year or two, I was probably downloading porn on the internet anyway, so it didn't really matter.
But you were talking before that about spiritual grit, which I still don't know what that really means.
That's actually the spiritual grit that's actually the dust that the disciples shook off their feet.
Is that
was the spiritual grit? No. Well, okay. So this is what I wanted to talk about today. What I feel, and I started talking about it. I said, I feel like I get lazy sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, that was what led us into the masturbation digression there, right?
Right.
So I think that the thing is,
you got lazy.
That's some of the laziness.
And so instead of going and doing other things, you just stay at home and
I focus on myself.
That's
right. Or whatever. That could it could also be kind of more of a metaphor too. Like maybe you sit and watch 8 hours of political talk shows.
Right, exactly.
Or I sit and read some like trashy novel.
Do you really read trashy novels?
I do sometimes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I think, some of that is this little bit of escapism. I also have a little bit of compulsiveness in general in life, which is probably connected to
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
right. I know it's like with comedy, with drugs, like with everything. I sort of have a tendency to just overdo everything, and so I can do that with my leisure time as well.
Right.
And I think I feel bad when I do that, and
Really?
I think so, and I think I feel guilty almost. I feel like, why am I spending all this time on myself? I should be out there. I should be at least preparing for a show. I should be preparing.
Exactly.
I should be I should be writing jokes.
Right.
I should be out there. Maybe I should be doing some AA stuff. I should be going to a meeting.
Okay.
I should be trying to help another alcoholic or a drug addict. Maybe I should be. I should be going to my yoga class.
Right.
I should be doing something that sort of is not just purely just kind of throwaway time. Now.
But it's also healthy. The stuff you're talking about is healthier for you too.
I guess it is. And I had a discussion with my sponsor about this earlier today, because I was like, well, I was working like really hard, and I felt like I hadn't had a day off in like 9 or 10 days. And I'm traveling, and then I'm doing all these shows and stuff.
Right,
and then all of a sudden after Sunday night, I finished my last improv show after doing a bunch of comedy shows too. And then on Tuesday, I have this wine bar show, that we talked about that you didn't come to.
The guilt.
And and so then Monday, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything.
Right. You just want to take off.
And I did nothing. I didn't leave the house at
You just
all.
hung out.
Oh yeah, I didn't leave my house, and I never do that. But it sort of felt good. But then when I did it again on Wednesday, I was like, man, this is like.
It's starting to get a little scary now.
Yeah. At first I was like, well, okay, this is like my weekend, because I'm always doing comedy on the weekends. So this is my weekend. I didn't get to do it till Monday and Wednesday. But I feel like that's just an excuse. Like ultimately, all right, so maybe I run some errands, maybe I do yoga, maybe I hit a couple AA meetings. I should just be doing something that's not just for me.
Oh yeah, and I because I think that what you're talking about is actually very serious stuff, and that is that they're kind of almost planting seeds within your mind, that you kind of get this mindset that starts to influence how you feel, and that influences your emotions, and then that influences your actions or lack of, and then it influences your behavior pattern. And these are seeds that can continually grow and grow and grow until it becomes a way of life.
Yeah, I like the seeds idea there, because it really is the right metaphor. Like, if I take half a day off or 1 day off, and I just kind of don't do anything, like, is that going to screw me up? Probably not.
No.
But it is easier to take the next day off after that first day.
Right. It's
harder to get going the next morning, and then if you get to the third day, it's like, whoa, no, I really just want to and I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to read this book for 3 or 4 hours,
Yeah.
or I'm just going to sit and before I do anything,
Right.
I'm going to sit and drink some coffee and watch some political talk shows, or like check some internet, surf Wikipedia for 3 or 4 hours, and all of a sudden, like half the day, 3/4 of the day is gone, and I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah. And I don't think that's a healthy way to survive or to live, because a lot of times that you run into people who are doing that too. And you start kind of, and you can play off of each other, and each one will be like, well, just hang out, man. Let's just hang out.
It's like a sick, like relationship.
And they water your seeds, and you water their seeds.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you've got some really strange people, just hanging out.
Yeah. I was like, all right, you go buy the heroin this time.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Have you been to this rodeo before?
Right. You mutually support each other in your compulsions and addictions. Yeah. No, it's bad stuff, So I think, but like anything, it's you can plant seeds in the other direction too. You can turn it around, and you can kind of not nurture those parts of yourself,
right?
And nurture the parts of yourself that are more healthy. Because I think the thing about this is, it's one of those things that what was it? Was it St. Paul that said that? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak?
Yeah.
I hate St. Paul usually, but that one, that's a good metaphor. It really is, because it really is. It's like, we know that this is not so good. Okay, so you relax a little bit, like for a day or two. It's like, okay, that's fine. But wouldn't it be better to kind of plan your week so that you don't end up just collapsing and then just relaxing and you know. And
Right. There's a rhythm to life.
I know. I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
you know, like a 7-day kind of a rhythm,
Right,
You know,
yeah.
where you remember the Sabbath. Something is that what you're
there
going
was
into?
something. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is a rhythm to life, and and we have a tendency because we are, you know, and from this empire that we live in, it's kind of like do more. You know, you didn't work 6 days a week. You know, work till 7 o'clock at night. Come on,
Yeah.
keep going, and I think we do just the opposite too. We like disengage completely. And you're like, well, you know, what happened? Well, I lost 4 days of my life and I don't know where it was.
Right.
But I binge watched every movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. I think the worst thing is if you're sitting there like on like Netflix or you're on demand or whatever, and you're sitting there like looking, and I'll be like, wow, I spent like 35 minutes like just looking for a movie to watch, and I'm like, man, this is like.
Yeah,
This is
gotta
no
call
good.
Saul. They gotta have more shows out. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what have I accomplished here? You know, I'm actually like planning to be lazy. You know, I've really like made it into a science.
Fine art.
Yeah, that's right. Like that feels bad. You know, that feels bad. And I'm, you know, the other thing is that because of the type of sort of career that I have, where it's like, it's very much, how much do I want to make it out of something? How much do I want to make of it?
Yeah.
You know, in other words, like I could not book any shows.
Right.
I could just sit around, you know. I mean, eventually,
Nobody's called me.
yeah,
And then-
eventually, you know, all of my trash cans will fill up, and
Right.
you know, they'll be overrun by raccoons, and I'll run out of money, and I'll be, you know, I mean, there's like bad things that will happen eventually, but I mean, I could kind of let things slide for
Right.
a few days, you know, or a few weeks even, which is really scary to think about. And it's not like I got to be at work on a 9 to 5.
Right. There's,
You know?
Who's checking in on you?
Yeah, I will do as many shows, and especially at this point in my career, like I have to be booking as many shows as
Right.
I can.
Right.
So it's especially scary for someone like for me because of that, and also because of my past as an addict. It just feels a little bit too similar
I bet.
to like those days sitting around, you know, doing drugs or
Well,
drinking.
what do you feel like it does to your soul when you know your soul? I know that the times I see you that you've gone and you've done yoga, you know, a couple times a week.
Yeah, I try to.
know that you are a healthier person.
Oh, that's true. I'm eating donuts, by the way, right now.
I know. I can't believe it.
as we
And
sit
you
on this
tried,
podcast.
you know, and you know I'm trying
I'm
to lose
like,
weight, and you're like,
oh,
hey
wow.
man, this is so good. You know,
Oh, man,
you know
pasta.
the cake.
This is the Krispy Kreme cake one. Oh, my favorite. So good.
Oh, it's so bad.
You have any key lime pie? I wish
That's
we could get
right.
that.
Take some orange soda to
So
wash
delicious.
that down with.
Right.
Orange soda to wash it down.
Actually, just like a cup of like thick molasses.
That's
you know.
Oh,
No, it's
save
true.
me.
When I do yoga, usually like the way I like to do it is I'll do it 5 or 6 days a week, and I've been trying to get back on that train ever since my last trip, and it's been really tough.
How come? Why?
Literally habit. It's just like
Just
what we were
habit,
just talking
yeah.
about. Yeah, it's like I took my hand off the throttle,
Yeah.
and now I gotta like getting the energy back to put it back on and get back into that harsh routine where I'm like, you know, like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and do yoga again. I'm so excited, man. I'm like, wow, how did I feel like that? Like it was only 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I've been doing that for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I mean, I should be able to get back into the habit. Really
Well, I mean,
easily, but-
you are. I mean, I can tell you're healthier. You know, you're mentally, you're sharper. You know, there's a rhythm to you that seems to be going on. That and I just have to think that it's probably because you have time to let your mind settle. You know, you have time to kind of slow down.
Oh yeah.
Because I think when you do stand up, wouldn't you think that it's like you got to be fast, you be quick. I got to say this, I got to say that, I got to do this next.
You mainly got to slow down, actually. That's the
Really?
weird thing about it. Yeah, I found this, and we should wrap this episode
Yeah,
soon. But
yeah.
but I found that with stand up, you kind of the longer you do it, the more you learn how to slow down and listen to the rhythms that you're putting out, and listen to the audience and where they are, and they're part of the rhythm too. And
Right.
you got to listen to how the joke hits them, and then give them time, then move to the next one, and at the same time, though, of course, like that fast part of your brain you're talking about, to me, what that is like that's my kind of desire to fit everything in,
Right.
and to try to make sure I know what joke is next, and do I have it all memorized, and like those are kind of those functions in the brain. And I kind of struggle with those too. Like I'm not great at memorizing stuff. I know I still if I'm doing like half an hour or 45 minutes, I definitely still have notes.
Right.
And I don't refer to them all the time, but I have them there in case I need them. And I think it's something that you learn as you get more comfortable on stage. Is just kind of how to like slow down and how to let go of those things and say, you know what, it's okay. I don't have it all memorized. Yeah, do I need to work on that? Do I need to get better at that? Sure, but I don't have to have it today.
Right.
And I don't need. And it's better to put on a good show and do well and be able to hit the beats right and feel the rhythms of the audience and get your comic timing right than to just make sure, did I get all the bullet points in this presentation correct?
Exactly,
like that's not how you do comedy.
Yeah.
That's how you do a presentation.
And I think that I went to a conference one time and it was called Guerrilla Theater, and the idea was it was for
Gorilla or gorilla?
Gorilla.
Like a
theater,
like
yeah.
Okay.
So guerrilla theater, and the idea was that it could be actually the other two, but the idea was to get when you preach, it's like a waltz with the congregation, that there's a rhythm to it, that you hear people, they get it, they're
right.
starting to make and that you have to be sensitive to that.
Yeah, it's like making love to the congregation. That's your ultimate plan.
I don't know why you.
As a Baptist, dancing, not allowed. This waltzing and whatnot, it's too close to sex.
Yeah, well, but Baptists, I've seen those Baptist ministers. They dance all over the place.
The black ones.
Is it just that? The white ones?
White Baptist? Oh no,
they don't slap
not allowed.
their hands.
No, none of that. There's a lot of very slow, somber, slightly off-key singing.
No, I think that there is a rhythm to it. I think there's a rhythm. I know that I preach mainly. I don't use notes, and so I have to memorize everything.
Wow,
and that makes it difficult.
Do you have mnemonic techniques you use or something for that, or are you just that good?
No, I type everything out, read it over.
Really?
And then I make visual notes that I'm going to go from point A to point B.
So you have visual notes. You have a note.
No.
When you say visual notes, what do you mean?
In my mind.
Do you tag that deacon? He's going to be point 1.
I may.
And then that lady over there in the hat, she's going to be point 2.
Well, to an extent, yeah. I mean,
really?
I may be talking about pearls before swine. So there's a pig in my mind right over here, and it's right there.
That's the fat guy in the front.
Well, no. Could be.
Okay.
But no, and then I may be going to the olive tree that Jesus cursed, and
right.
so I'm seeing a tree.
There's the Italian guy.
That's yeah. See, kind of like that.
And then the next one.
And then whatever the next point is that we're leading towards. I'm not going there again.
Okay, tell me the next one.
The adulterous woman over here. I'm gonna. That's the woman in the third row, right?
Of course, you know that. You know by the scarlet A. That's knitted onto her blouse there.
But you start out and you go, I know I'm going to start here. I know that I'm going to go to here, and I know I'm going to end here. And so you try to do it that way. It's cool. It's more exciting. I mean, it really is, because it's fresh and it's new. It's not just something you're not just reading.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's good. Do you do a lot of biblical, like Bible reading stuff?
We usually do one scripture every Sunday. Yeah. So I usually have one of the elders read that.
Okay.
And we put it up on the screens and people can see it, because we got every modality we have to teach to.
Is that a long passage?
No, not usually.
Oh, okay. Something short.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it's short on scripture and long on Pastor Dwayne.
Sometimes it is. It's taking it apart and taking apart the history of it, and taking apart the what does it mean to me today? Why is this important to me?
Right. And most importantly, why does this mean we should vote for the Republicans?
Right. Well, that does. That we've been talking about that the gospel of Jesus is political, but it is not partisan.
Right.
But hey, so you need to tell me one joke I can use to set up this Sunday. I want to start off with a joke.
You want me to write a joke for you right now?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Come on. Good one.
What's the context?
We're starting off with the sermon first. So instead of doing everything else, we're starting off with the sermon first.
What am I supposed to write a joke about?
Right now, just come on. You're
a funny guy. So what's the sermon going to be about?
It's going to be about the idea that when these people were singing, when we sing, when we pray, we are screaming out that there's a different world that we can exist in, and that this kingdom is here and it's now, and we can take compassion and love and caring. That praying and singing are deeply embedded in this idea of claiming that the world can be different.
It's not funny.
But it could be. Okay. Okay.
So the idea there is that if you get hysterical and scream and sing and pray, then you're connecting to the
singing and praying originally when the first church started was basically a rebellion against Caesar. It was a way of saying Caesar is not God. And we still say that's what singing and praying is about, is saying that we believe in a different God.
Well, what about the national anthem?
Yeah, we don't do that.
It's just to go there for the comedy, because that's your paradox.
Is that
like
it? Yeah.
we have all these patriotic songs.
I know.
Right, and you're like singing.
Yeah.
Singing is what you're saying there is singing is anti-patriotic almost.
Well, that was how it was used, because they were talking about a God that wasn't Caesar.
Singing is revolutionary.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So more Woody Guthrie than Francis Scott Key.
That's right. Exactly.
Or Lee Greenwood.
Okay, Lee Greenwood. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. You can. There's enough there to write a joke.
Come on, one joke. Give me one joke. Yeah.
I charge. We're gonna have to talk about compensation here. We'll talk off the air.
$6 for a joke or what?
We'll see.
Let's go and rate for a joke.
All right. Well, before we go, I just want to remind everyone to write us at JesusChristThat'sFunny@gmail.com. We will respond to you, and we can read your comment or criticism on the air. And also, really important, please go to iTunes or your podcasts app on your iPhone and
rate us.
Give us a rating and a review, preferably a 5-star rating, and but really anything in the review. Just give us. We need more reviews. That's really the key.
Yeah.
So please help us out. Thank you to those of you who have been already doing that. We have been getting quite a few. So keep that up, and we will move this podcast up in the rankings on iTunes.
And weren't we on Podbean? Were we recommended?
I think that's yes. We will. By the time this airs, we would have.
Very nice.
We will have been reviewed by then, or been featured by Podbean. So
very cool.
Exciting stuff happening on Jesus Christ That's Funny. Pastor, where can people find out more about you?
You can go to the website, sanctuarychurchftl.org, or you can get us on Facebook, the Sanctuary Church and FTL. But also, didn't we just have a new Facebook? Didn't you just start that?
We now have a Facebook page for this podcast. You can find us on Facebook. If you look up Jesus Christ That's Funny, you will find it. But also, if you want to look up the exact address, it would be like facebook.com/JCTF podcast.
And JCTF is what?
Jesus Christ That's Funny.
That's good. Okay. That is
so go on there and like our page on Facebook also.
Sounds good.
That's easy to do. And if you want to know about me and my comedy shows happening, for the next few weeks, just go to Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat, and you can follow me at Ethan Is Not Funny.
And where are you going this weekend?
This weekend I'm going to Daytona and also Savannah, but by the time this airs, I will have already been back from there.
That's so cool.
So it was great.
Savannah, nice.
Great crowds. Everyone was fantastic. We love you, and we can't wait to go back. How about that?
That's good. That's good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.